Your brother can't risk his DJ career, but you? You can lose a few years in prison. That sentence, it changed everything. It wasn't just my mom, Carol, speaking, it was the chilling, absolute truth of our family laid bare. My entire life, reduced to a disposable asset for their golden child, Caleb. And what I did next, well, let's just say it made them regret every single word. See, for 6 long years, I, Elias, at 32, had poured my soul into my firm. Every 60-hour week, every late-night design revision, every client pitch, it was all building towards senior partner. That corner office, the 6-figure salary, the respect. Meanwhile, my 30-year-old brother, Caleb, was living rent-free in my parents' basement. He was supposedly working on his DJ career, but really, he'd just been unemployed for 3 years, doing nothing but draining their bank account for weed and video games. I'd clawed my way up from student loans and side hustles while he got handed everything and still managed to fail. But I had no idea that my clean record, my hard-earned reputation, had made me the perfect cover for something far darker. And I definitely didn't know my own mother was about to destroy everything I'd built. The pitch was going flawlessly. 27th floor, glass conference room overlooking the Denver skyline. My sustainable drainage design was about to land me the biggest contract of my career, $3.8 million to transform City Creek Park from a concrete wasteland into a vibrant public space. This was it. My shot at senior partner. Then, the conference room doors slammed open. 2 uniformed cops and a detective who looked like he benched small cars for fun walked straight toward me. Didn't ask permission. Didn't apologize. Just made a beeline while I was mid-sentence about water retention systems. Elias? Yeah, that's me. Whatever this is, can it wait 20 minutes? No. You're under arrest for identity theft and embezzlement. I laughed. Had to be a prank. Maybe the junior architects thought they were being funny. But then cold steel clicked around my wrists and reality hit like a freight train. The detectives said there was a warrant. White collar or not, they weren't waiting for me to finish my presentation. My boss stood up so fast his chair screeched across the floor. Detective, this is my lead architect. You've made a mistake. No mistake, the detective said, his voice flat. We have surveillance footage, forged signatures, electronic records. It's airtight. They walked me out through the main office, past everyone I'd worked with for 6 years, past the assistant who always saved me the good coffee, past the interns I'd been teaching. Every single person stared at me like I'd just murdered someone's dog. The shame was suffocating. My phone started blowing up before we even hit the elevator. Texts from colleagues, email notifications pinging, work chat going nuclear with questions. By the time we reached the lobby, 3 clients had already called asking what the heck was happening. My boss's assistant was speedwalking behind us, whispering urgently into her phone about damage control and media statements. The perp walk through that marble lobby felt like it lasted hours. Security guards I joked with every morning stood frozen, eyes following me like I'd sprouted horns. The lunch crowd from nearby offices stopped mid-bite to watch. Someone had their phone out, filming. Great. I'd be viral by dinner, tagged and shared across every architecture forum and industry group. The downtown precinct smelled like burnt coffee and broken dreams. They threw me in an interrogation room and the detective dropped a file on the table, thick enough to stop a bullet. $16,000, Elias. You drained it from Prairie State Industrial's Employee Relief Fund 18 months ago. The withdrawal was initiated through a forged authorization packet submitted to a third-party administrator. We've got you on camera at the bank collecting the check. We've got your signature on withdrawal slips. Game over. I didn't touch anything, I said, my voice hoarse. I haven't worked with Prairie State in over a year. The detective leaned back, arms crossed. The initial complaint came from a family member. Said you'd been acting weird with money lately. Even gave us copies of your ID documents to help with the investigation. He slid a photocopy of a check across the metal table. My name was signed at the bottom. Except the signature was wrong. The E had the stupid flourish my brother Caleb used when he forged my signature on permission slips in high school. That dragged out S at the end. Classic Caleb. That's my brother's handwriting, I said, not mine. The detective raised an eyebrow like I'd just told him the earth was flat. So your brother walked into a bank with your ID, forged your signature, and nobody noticed? You realize how that sounds? It sounded insane. But Caleb and I looked similar enough. Same build, same brown hair, same square jaw. If he had my documents, he could absolutely pull it off. Especially since he'd been mooching off my parents for 3 years straight, doing absolutely nothing except smoking weed and playing Call of Duty. I called Chloe, my best friend from college and currently the sharpest defense attorney in Denver. She showed up within 2 hours and somehow got me released on bail pending investigation. You're in deep, Elias, she said as we walked to my car. The evidence looks bad. This isn't about your job. It's about someone wearing your name like a costume. If you're saying it's Caleb, we need proof. Real proof. I know exactly where to find him. I drove straight to my parents' place in the suburbs. Same house where Carol used to lecture me about responsibility while handing Caleb everything on a silver platter. As I pulled into the driveway, my headlights swept across something that made me slam the brakes. A neon orange McLaren 570S, sitting there like a middle finger to reality. My dad, Robert, drove a 15-year-old sedan with duct tape holding the bumper on. Mom had a basic SUV she'd owned since 2010. Caleb's biggest accomplishment was reaching Prestige Master on some video game. Where the heck did a $200,000 car come from? I got out and touched the hood. Still warm. Someone had been driving it recently. The paint was perfect. Showroom level shine. No scratches, no door dings, not even a speck of dust. Someone was babying this thing like it was made of glass. I checked the temporary tag in the window, registered 3 days ago to some business name I didn't recognize. The interior was pristine through the window. Tan leather seats, carbon fiber trim. That new car smell probably still lingering. The odometer read 127 miles, barely broken in. I pulled up my phone and snapped photos of the VIN plate, the temporary registration, the odometer. Something about this car screamed wrong. Caleb couldn't afford a Happy Meal without begging Mom for cash. Now he's driving a car worth more than most people's houses. I pushed open the front door, unlocked as always, and walked inside. The scent of vanilla candles hit me first. Mom's signature smell, the one she used to cover up every lie this family ever told. They were all sitting in the dining room eating dinner like it was just another Monday. Steak, mashed potatoes, water glasses. Perfect suburban family scene. It made me want to put my fist through the wall. Elias. Carol set down her fork. Zero surprise on her face. You're home early. You knew I got arrested? Of course. The police called asking about your residency history. Caleb wouldn't look at me. Just kept sawing at his steak, hands shaking like a leaf. I lunged for him, but Robert blocked me with surprising speed. Elias, control yourself. That's your brother. He stole 16 grand using my name. They handcuffed me in front of my entire office. My career is finished because of this waste of oxygen. Don't call your brother names. Carol snapped. She stood up, pushed me into a chair with more force than I expected. Her grip felt like iron. Sit down. We're going to discuss this like adults. Before we talk about anything, I said, gripping the chair arms. I want to know about that McLaren outside. Whose is it? Caleb shrank back in his seat. It's for my influencer content. Influencer content? You stole company funds to play rich kid on Instagram? Enough. Carol's voice cut through the room like a blade. What's done is done. Caleb made a mistake. He didn't mean any harm. A mistake? It's multiple felonies, Mom. Identity theft, fraud, embezzlement. Robert cleared his throat. The issue is, Elias, Caleb isn't equipped for hardship like you are. You have education, a career, mental toughness. Caleb, he's sensitive. He's fragile. I felt ice water flood my veins. I knew where this was going. I'd heard variations of this speech my entire life. What exactly are you saying, Dad? Carol looked me dead in the eyes. No hesitation, no shame. Elias, you need to take responsibility for your brother's actions. The silence was absolute. Even the refrigerator seemed to stop humming. Excuse me? You heard me correctly. If Caleb goes to prison, he'll die. He won't last a single week. But you're different. You're a survivor. You can handle 18 months in minimum security, and when you get out, you can rebuild. You're talented. He can't risk his DJ career falling apart now. You can lose a few years. You'll bounce back. You're out of your mind. I stood up so fast the chair hit the wall. You want me to go to prison for his crime? It is your responsibility. Carol raised her voice, face flushing red. You're the oldest. You've had everything. The education, the career, the opportunities. Your brother has nothing. Now you want to take away his freedom, too? I'm not taking anything. He did this to himself. Money is replaceable, Elias. Family is not. She slammed her palm on the table hard enough to make the water glasses jump. For once in your life, be a real brother. Some people are born to support others. That's your role in this family. Accept it. That's when I understood. The woman standing in front of me wasn't my mother. She was a stranger who'd sacrifice one son to protect the other without losing a minute of sleep. But I didn't know yet that the $16,000 was just the opening act. I didn't know about the McLaren's real source. I didn't know about the empire they'd built using my name. Dad. I turned to him, hoping for one voice of reason. You seriously agree with this? You want me locked up? He stared at his water glass like it held all the answers. Couldn't even meet my eyes. Your mother's right. Caleb isn't built for the real world like you are. Prison would destroy him permanently. The memories hit me all at once. When I was 17, I needed a car to get to my construction job. They said money was tight. I saved for 8 months, bought a rusted Ford Ranger with 180,000 miles. 3 weeks later, for Caleb's 15th birthday, they rolled out a brand new Kawasaki dirt bike. When I got into college, I took out $60,000 in student loans and worked 2 jobs delivering pizzas and doing landscaping. The college fund my grandfather left me had mysteriously evaporated. That same year, Caleb went on a summer art program to Italy that cost $8,000. My entire life had been me clawing for every scrap while Caleb got handed everything and still managed to fail upward. I won't do it, I said, my voice flat and final. I'm not pleading guilty. Caleb, you're on your own. Caleb's eyes filled with tears. Same trick he'd been using since he was 5. Elias, please. I'm scared. I owe people money. Bad people. If I go inside, they'll kill me. You've always been good at fixing things. You're my big brother, man. Don't give me that big brother garbage. You're driving a $200,000 car while I work 60-hour weeks. Where did the money for that car really come from? Caleb glanced at Carol, then stammered. It's a rental for content. So you called the cops on me for your garbage? I will mess you up. I said. Enough. Carol stepped between us, puffed up like she was ready to physically fight me. We're not discussing the car. We're discussing your brother's future. You turned me in. I forced you to do the right thing, she said like it was the most reasonable explanation in the world. And I can fix it if you cooperate. Plead guilty. I've already talked to our family attorney. If you confess and pay restitution, you might get probation. Maybe 6 months in county at worst. Minimum security. We'll cover the $16,000. Robert and I will figure it out. Our family attorney, a man I'd looked up to my whole life. The fact that she'd already pulled him into this conspiracy made the walls feel like they were closing in. I'm not confessing to something I didn't do. I'm going to fight this. I'm hiring the best lawyer money can buy. And when the investigation points to Caleb, then he faces the music. I turned toward the door. If you walk out, Carol screamed, don't ever call me Mom again. I will do whatever it takes to protect Caleb. Whatever it takes, Elias, I will burn your life to the ground if I have to. I didn't look back, slammed the door, and walked into the cold October air. I looked at that McLaren one last time. Something was wrong. $16,000 couldn't buy that car. Couldn't even cover insurance. And Caleb said he had gambling debts. If he had debts, why the luxury car? Nothing added up. That was Monday. By Friday, she'd turned my life into a bonfire. I drove back to my apartment, hands shaking so bad I could barely grip the wheel. Called Chloe the second I got inside. They want me to take the fall. Tell me you're not considering it. Heck no. But Chloe, something's off. There's a McLaren in their driveway. Caleb says it's a rental, but my parents weren't worried about money. They were only worried about Caleb doing time. A McLaren? Chloe sounded alarmed. Okay, listen. Come to my office tomorrow morning. Do not talk to them again. And most importantly, check all your bank accounts right now. I opened my laptop, logged into my savings account. The screen loaded and my heart stopped. Balance, $0. My savings. The account I'd been building for 9 years to buy a house, $43,000. Gone. Completely wiped out. I checked the transaction history. A massive transfer initiated that afternoon, right after I got arrested. Authorized by Carol. The timestamp showed 2:47 p.m., less than an hour after the cops walked me out. She'd been watching the clock, waiting for the exact moment I'd be locked in that interrogation room. Couldn't defend myself. Couldn't stop the transfer. Couldn't even check my phone. She'd planned it down to the minute. Probably had the transfer page loaded and ready, finger hovering over the confirm button. I scrolled through more transactions, smaller withdrawals dating back weeks, $200 here, $500 there. She'd been testing the waters, seeing if I'd notice. I never checked this account regularly, just watched the balance grow on autopay from my paycheck. She'd exploited that perfectly. I'd forgotten. When I opened this account right out of college, Mom insisted on being a joint holder just for emergencies, she'd said. I was 22 and trusted her. Never thought to remove her name. She'd cleaned me out. My defense fund, my future, my safety net. My phone buzzed. Text from Mom, *, this is just the beginning. Cooperate and I'll return it. Force my hand and you'll lose everything, *, then another text immediately after, *, you think I won't do it again? I made one phone call and they put you in cuffs. Don't test me, *, I threw the phone across the room. 3 days later, someone pounded on my door like they were trying to break it down. My landlord. He looked genuinely afraid. Elias, I'm sorry. Your mother just called. She said you're running a methamphetamine distribution operation out of this apartment. She sent me a photo of your arrest warrant. I can't take this risk. I need you out in 72 hours. I've known you for 5 years. I'm a landscape architect, not a drug dealer. I'm refunding your security deposit. Please, I can't have the police raiding my building. He shoved the eviction notice into my hands and practically ran down the hallway. My mother wasn't bluffing. She was systematically destroying my life. This control freak. I went straight to Chloe's office. She handed me black coffee and sat me down. I heard about the bank account. We could sue for conversion, but it's a joint account. Civil matter, not criminal. It'll take months. Right now, our priority is the criminal case. I need to talk to our family attorney, I said. He's handled my parents' legal stuff for 20 years. Maybe he can help me understand what's happening. Chloe frowned. Be careful. If he's their attorney, his loyalty isn't to you. I drove to his office downtown. He'd been Robert's best friend since college. The man who gave me career advice when I was choosing schools. I'd always thought of him as the good uncle. Elias, my boy, he greeted me with a firm handshake. Sit. Sit. Your mother explained the situation. Terrible business. I didn't do it. Caleb forged my signature. He sighed, taking off his reading glasses to clean them. I believe you, Elias, but the problem is evidence. The signature, the surveillance footage, the login came from a home ISP account tied to your name. It all points to you. Caleb has no assets. If he goes to prison, he can't pay restitution. But you have earning potential. So, what are you suggesting? Take the deal, Elias. I've negotiated with the district attorney. If you plead guilty and pay restitution, you get 18 months probation. No jail time. You keep your job if we handle PR correctly. Plead guilty to something I didn't do? Sometimes family harmony is worth more than being right, son. Your parents are devastated. I felt sick. I stood to leave when I realized I'd left my phone on his desk. Turned back. His door was cracked open. I was about to push it when I heard him on the phone. Yes, Carol, I told him. No, he's not convinced yet. Don't worry. The insurance situation is protected. The kid doesn't know about the policies. Yeah, keep the pressure on. Asterisk insurance situation. Policies, asterisk I backed away quietly. Used a spare car key I kept in my wallet to start my car. My hands were shaking so violently I could barely turn the ignition. He had sold me out. He wasn't just protecting Caleb. He was protecting something much bigger. By the end of that week, she escalated from my bank account to my workplace. I drove back to my firm. Needed to explain to my boss. Needed to salvage my career. But when I walked into the lobby, the receptionist looked at me with pity. Elias, your boss said he doesn't want to see you. And your mother is in his office. My mother? I walked toward the office. The scene inside made my blood boil. Carol was sitting on the leather couch, crying into a tissue. My boss stood nearby, looking uncomfortable. Oh, Elias. Carol sobbed when she saw me. Thank God you're here. I was just apologizing for your behavior. I told him about your substance abuse issues. Substance abuse? What the heck are you talking about? Don't deny it, sweetie. She turned to my boss. He started using cocaine last year. That's why he needed money. He even got violent with me when I confronted him. She pulled up her sleeve, revealing a massive bruise on her forearm. I recognized that bruise from when she slammed her arm against the doorframe yesterday, trying to block me from leaving. That's a complete lie. I've never touched drugs. I never laid a hand on her. My boss held up his hand, looking exhausted. Elias, I don't know what's true anymore, but between the police yesterday and now your mother, we're bidding on a major city contract. We can't afford scandal. You're firing me? I'm placing you on unpaid leave until this is resolved. Please leave the building, Elias. Handle your family situation. I looked at Mom. Her face was buried in the tissue, but I saw it. A slight smirk curling her lips. She'd done it. Money first, housing next, work last. Like she had a checklist. I was cornered. No money, no job, no home, and felony charges hanging over my head. But she made one critical mistake. When you push a man into a corner with nothing left to lose, he becomes the most dangerous thing in the world. And the family attorney's slip about insurance was the thread I needed to unravel everything. I called Chloe from my car. Chloe, I need help. I think my parents aren't just protecting Caleb. I think they're running a massive fraud operation. Come to the office now. I met Chloe's guy at her office. He looked like he lived on energy drinks and conspiracy theories, but his eyes had that sharp intelligence that comes from seeing through nonsense for a living. Chloe's secret weapon for financial fraud cases. He didn't hack anything, he pulled what you can legally pull fast. My credit report, business filings, and registration records. The deeper stuff took days, not minutes, phone calls, public record requests, a few paid background pulls, an investigator who knew how to get a storage manager talking without sounding like a cop. By the time we went back to the detective, we weren't walking in with a conspiracy board and vibes. We had a packet. All right, Elias. He spun his laptop around. I pulled your credit report like you asked. And holy heck, it's lit up like a Christmas tree. What did you find? You own 4 LLCs, Reynolds Consulting, Apex Logistics, Northern Imports, and Cascade Holdings. All registered under your name and social security number. Starting 10 years ago. 10 years ago, right after I graduated and moved out. My parents had asked to borrow my documents for some insurance paperwork. I trusted them completely. And here's where it gets interesting, he continued. That McLaren you mentioned? Registered to Reynolds Consulting. But that's not all. There's a Porsche 911, an Audi R8, and a Range Rover also registered to these companies. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. My family was driving a fleet of luxury vehicles in my name, while I drove a 10-year-old Honda with a cracked windshield. What about money movement? Chloe asked. That's where it gets dark, he grimaced. These companies show minimal legitimate business activity, but they have massive insurance claim payouts. Staged accidents, property damage, cargo theft. Total payouts over the last 6 years, north of $800,000. He pulled up another document. And here's the thing that'll make your blood freeze. That McLaren, it's scheduled for a photo shoot next week at a storage facility rented under Cascade Holdings. Through publicly accessible business filings, I found the facility's address. The investigator I work with visited. They've been moving damaged car parts in and out for months. Bumpers, hoods, fenders. That McLaren sitting in their driveway isn't a status symbol. It's inventory. They're planning to total it in a staged accident next week for a 6-figure insurance payout. He clicked through more files, spreadsheets with dates, locations, claim amounts. Check this out. Repair estimates, body shop invoices, all fake. They've got a whole network. 3 body shops in different counties. All owned by the same shell company registered in Delaware. They bring in wrecked luxury cars from auction. Swap VINs with clean titles registered to your LLCs, then stage collisions for insurance money. The body shops write inflated damage reports. Insurance pays out. They pocket the difference. He pulled up photos. This Porsche 911 bought at salvage auction for $22,000 with front-end damage. 2 months later, same VIN shows a rear-end collision claim for $90,000. The math doesn't work unless you're committing fraud. How many vehicles? I asked. At least 12 in the last 3 years. Some got totaled twice using different VINs. They're rotating through cars like a chop shop, but making it look legitimate with your clean record backing the claims. It's sophisticated as heck. My stomach dropped. The warm car in the driveway wasn't about showing off. It was product positioning for the next scam. And the money trail? I asked. Laundered through multiple accounts, but it all flows back to 2 people, Robert and Carol. They've got offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands, a Delaware LLC that owns the body shops, and cash withdrawals that coincidentally match Caleb's gambling habits. Your brother's been living off this operation while you worked your butt off. Everything clicked. Caleb's $16,000 embezzlement was pocket change, a stupid mistake by an addict brother that threatened to expose the entire operation my parents had built, using my identity as the foundation. They wanted me to plead guilty, not just to save Caleb. They wanted the case closed immediately. If police investigated Caleb's finances deeply, they'd find the shell companies. But if I took the fall, the file would be sealed and their empire would stay hidden. I was the perfect cover. We need hard proof, Chloe said. These numbers are suspicious, but they could claim you were running the company since your name is on everything. I know someone who can help, I said. Maria. Maria was Caleb's ex-girlfriend. They'd broken up 4 months ago after a massive blowout. Caleb had cheated on her, and my family gave her a hard time. I found Maria working at a pool hall on the south side. When she saw me, she looked like she wanted to run, but I blocked her path. Maria, I'm not here to cause problems. Caleb and my parents are trying to send me to prison. Maria paused, her eyes filled with bitterness. Your family is pure garbage. They treated me like trash. I know. They're doing the same to me now. Do you know anything about their business operations? Maria laughed, lighting a cigarette with shaking hands. Business? You mean the insurance scams? Caleb used to brag about it when he was high. Said his parents were criminal geniuses. Buying luxury cars, staging wrecks, collecting payouts. He even kept documentation. Called it his insurance Bible in case his parents tried to cut him out of the money. Any idea where that documentation is? He keeps it in a shoebox under his bed. Black Nike box. Has every claim, every payout, every staged accident documented. He showed me once when he was paranoid they'd screw him over. Said it was his life insurance policy. I turned to Chloe. We need that notebook. We can't break in. That's illegal, Chloe warned. We need to manipulate them into giving it up, or manipulate them into confessing. A dangerous plan formed in my mind. It was risky as heck, but it was the only way to end this permanently. I'm going to plead guilty, I told Chloe. Are you insane? No, I'm going to pretend to plead guilty. I'll tell them I agreed to take the fall, but on one condition, they sign over a chunk of money up front so I can start a business when I get out. I'll bait them into explaining where the money comes from. You need to record it, Chloe said. And we need law enforcement involved. I called the detective. Initially, he thought I was wasting his time. But after Chloe's guy sent him the preliminary financial analysis and Maria's statement, his entire attitude changed. All right, Elias, the detective said. The insurance fraud crosses state lines. Vehicles registered in Colorado, staged accidents in multiple states, offshore accounts in the Caymans. That makes it federal. The FBI is taking lead on this, which means we can wire you up under federal consent laws. I've already got the assistant U.S. attorney signing off on the intercept authorization. We'll do it the right way, paperwork and all. If it's not clean, we're not doing it. But you need to get them to admit it verbally. Don't ask leading questions. Let them volunteer information. Let them brag. People like that always do. If you fail, you're on your own with those embezzlement charges. I won't fail. The next morning, I called Carol. Made my voice sound as broken and defeated as possible. Mom, I can't do this anymore. The landlord kicked me out. The company suspended me. You win. I'll take the plea. Silence on the other end. Then Carol's voice, triumphant and disgustingly sweet. I knew you'd see reason, Elias. You've always been a good son. Come home tonight. We'll celebrate the family coming together again. Celebrate, she used the word celebrate for her son going to prison. I hung up and looked in the mirror. The man staring back looked exhausted, but his eyes burned with purpose. Tonight, I was walking into hell. And I wasn't walking out alone. The detective didn't magically turn federal overnight. He forwarded our packet. And a few days later, I got a call from people who sounded allergic to small talk. There was paperwork, a test run, and a safety phrase. The code word wasn't spy stuff, it was just a way to get me out fast if things went sideways. The detective and his FBI team fitted me with a high-quality wire, taped tight to my chest under my shirt. They also gave me a burner phone as a backup recording device in case the wire malfunctioned. They'd be in an unmarked van 1 block away, recording every word. The detective ran through the protocol one more time. Get them talking about the cars, the companies, any admission of fraud. Don't ask leading questions. Let them volunteer information. We need clean confessions. Don't steer them. Just give them room. And Elias, if things go sideways, if you say the code word blueprint, we're 30 seconds away. Don't be a hero. I nodded, checking my phone one last time before handing it over. The tech guy did a final wire check, making sure the audio was crystal clear. No turning back now. The drive to my parents' house felt surreal. Every red light, every turn brought me closer to ending this or getting much deeper if they suspected something. I parked my car next to the orange McLaren, still sitting there like a trophy. I walked inside. The atmosphere was celebratory. Carol had cooked a massive dinner. Caleb was sprawled on the couch, grinning like an idiot. The prodigal son returns. Caleb cheered, clearly already hyped up. Elias, I knew you wouldn't abandon me. I fought the urge to vomit, slumped my shoulders, played the defeated card. Save it, Caleb. I'm doing this for family, not for you. Sit down, son. Robert poured and handed me a glass of sparkling cider. This is the right choice. Family comes first. I held the glass, but didn't drink. Before I go to the district attorney tomorrow, we need to settle something. I'm losing my career. I need a financial guarantee for when I get out. Oh, stop worrying. Carol waved her hand dismissively, practically glowing with satisfaction. We'll take care of you. How much do you want? I want $200,000. And I know you have it. I see the McLaren, the Porsche. Where did you get that kind of money? Dad's pension can't cover this. Caleb laughed, already riding high on adrenaline. He didn't understand the mechanics, but he'd memorized the bragging points. Pension? Bro, you think we're living off pension? You're the golden goose. Reynolds Consulting, Apex, Northern, all. Your companies. We've pulled in close to $1 million using your clean record. Caleb, shut your mouth. Carol snapped. But Caleb was on a roll. What? He's taking the fall anyway. He should know what he's protecting. Caleb turned to me. That warehouse fire last year, $300,000 payout. The highway pileup last spring, another $150,000. You're a genius and don't even know it. Caleb, I said enough. And the McLaren that's going into a staged wreck next week. Already got the claim forms ready. Some hit-and-run setup on Lakeshore Drive. Boom. $250,000. Easy money. Caleb. Carol's voice cut like a whip, but it was too late. The damage was done. Robert had gone white. Carol stood there frozen, realizing what just happened. Caleb looked confused, finally sensing he'd said too much. I set the glass down slowly. The clink echoed. So Caleb's $16,000 was just an occupational hazard? I asked quietly. Carol's eyes locked on mine. She knew. Somehow she knew. What Elias needs to understand, she said carefully, trying to salvage it, is that family protects family. These business arrangements are complicated, but I stood up, shedding the defeated posture. Reached into my jacket and pulled out the burner phone the FBI had given me, setting it on the table face down, nice and calm. What? What is that? Robert's face drained of all color. That's a first-class ticket to prison for all three of you. Sirens wailed outside. Blue and red lights flooded through the windows. Police! Open the door! What did you do? Carol stumbled backward. I did what a real brother does. I cleaned up the mess. Run, Caleb! Robert screamed. Caleb grabbed the McLaren keys and bolted for the garage. The front door slammed open. Officers rushed in. Everybody down! Hands where we can see them. I raised my hands, standing still. Robert got tackled, handcuffs snapping on. Carol screamed as officers dragged her out. Through the window, I watched Caleb sprint toward the McLaren. He yanked the door open, threw himself inside. The engine roared to life, but 2 patrol cars had already blocked the driveway. He revved the engine, tires spinning uselessly against concrete. Officers surrounded the vehicle, guns drawn. Caleb killed the engine, stepped out with his hands up. The officer nearest him spun him around hard, face first into the McLaren's hood. The same hood he'd probably wiped down 100 times, now pressed against it while steel cuffs clicked around his wrists. Then Caleb's panicked voice cut through the chaos. Wait! I can give you more. Photos, texts, burner phones. Keep me out of federal prison and I'll give you everyone. Even handcuffed, the golden child was negotiating. The detective picked up the burner phone and checked the wire pickup. Solid work, Elias. Those flashing police lights were the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. They took everyone downtown. This time I wasn't in cuffs. I rode in the detective's unmarked car as a cooperating witness. At the precinct, Caleb broke in under 20 minutes. Gave up the insurance Bible location, Swiss account numbers, everything. Then he pulled out his phone, hidden folder full of screenshots, planning texts between Carol and Robert, burner numbers, staging scripts. He'd been keeping receipts on everyone the whole time. Pure rat instinct. Robert confessed everything within an hour, asking only for leniency for Carol. Carol refused to talk until the detective played the recording. When her voice filled the room, admitting to the staged accidents and insurance payouts, her face went white. I finished my statement at 4 a.m. Chloe met me outside with coffee. Full immunity for cooperation, she said. The detective's writing the exoneration letter for your boss. The trial took 14 months to get to court. My parents hired expensive lawyers, fought hard, pleaded not guilty. Carol tried claiming I was the mastermind, but the financial analysis in Caleb's dead man switch folder buried that argument. The jury took under 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. The judge sentenced them without hesitation. Robert, 13 years federal. Carol, 13 years federal. Caleb, for years with mandatory rehab. Carol screamed as they led her out. Called me a traitor. The marshals didn't care. I blocked every relative who sided with them. Done negotiating. My boss called me back to the firm a week after sentencing. The City Creek Park project. We won the contract. City planning specifically requested you as lead architect. He slid the promotion paperwork across his desk. Senior partner. You earned it. Chloe and I had dinner that night at a steakhouse overlooking the river. First time in 18 months we weren't talking about depositions or evidence chains. You look different, she said. I feel different. She squeezed my hand across the table. I was wondering when you'd notice I've been right here the whole time. We moved in together 8 months later. No drama, just respect and silence when we needed it. 14 months after that, I stood on the observation deck of the completed City Creek Park. Opening day, hundreds of people walking through gardens I designed. Chloe leaned against my shoulder. What are you thinking? She asked. That I'm done looking back. Good, she said. The mayor's waiting for the lead architect. I turned away from the railing and walked into the crowd. 6 months later, I got word through Chloe that Carol wanted a family mediation meeting, some prison rehabilitation program. She'd supposedly made progress and wanted to apologize. You don't have to do this, Chloe said. I know. But I want to see it. I want to see her sitting in that jumpsuit, knowing she put herself there. The meeting was at a medium security facility. Cameras everywhere. Counselor present. Carol sat across from me looking completely broken. Gray hair, no makeup, orange jumpsuit hanging off her like she'd lost weight. She couldn't stop her hands from shaking. The counselor gave some speech about healing and accountability. I stared at her the entire time. Finally, Carol spoke, voice cracking. Elias, please. I know what I did was unforgivable. I destroyed your life because I was selfish and stupid. I chose Caleb over you, and I was wrong. I'm begging you. I can't sleep. I can't eat. Please, I need you to forgive me. I'm your mother. Please. No, she flinched like I'd slapped her. Tears started streaming down her face. Real ones this time. Elias, please. I'll do anything. I'll sign over everything. I'll testify against Caleb if you want. I can't do this anymore. 13 years. I won't survive this. Please, baby. Please. You called me selfish for not going to prison for him. You stole my money. You tried to destroy my career. You wanted me in a cell instead of him. I know. I know, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. She was sobbing now, gasping for air. The counselor reached for tissues. Carol pushed them away, leaning forward desperately. Please, just tell me what I can do. Anything. I'll do anything. I stood up slowly, buttoned my jacket, looked down at her while she cried. 13 years, Carol. Enjoy them. Her face crumpled completely. She reached across the table like she was going to grab my hand, but the counselor stopped her. Elias, please don't leave like this. Please. I walked to the door without looking back. Chloe was waiting in the parking lot with coffee. How'd it go? Exactly how I wanted it to. What would you have done in my place?